Well, to say the least, it has been an historic day in our nation's capital with Bakersfield's own Kevin McCarthy at the center of it all. After months of turmoil over who will become the next House of Representatives Speaker, McCarthy today fell short of the votes he needed.
That House voted 3 times today, the first time in a century. It has taken multiple ballots to elect a speaker and has adjourned until tomorrow. 17's Maddie Gannon and Alex Fisher are in Washington, D.C. tonight and have been at the Capitol all day long. Maddie, Alex, what has it been like there on the ground today?
Yeah, well, good evening, Jim and Tammy, and to you at home in Kern County. Right here in Washington, D.C., it is very interesting. Right now, Kevin McCarthy is fighting for one of the biggest moments in his political career, maybe even his life, to become Speaker of the House. And right now, this battle, it's not even necessarily with Democrats, it's with members in his own party.
Absolutely. And, you know, we weren't exactly expecting today to be smooth sailing. We've known for weeks that 5 conservative House Republicans were pledging to vote against McCarthy today. But the opposition we saw on the House floor was even far greater than what most were expecting today. On the first and second vote, 19 Republicans defected from their party and voted for somebody other than McCarthy. On the third vote, it was 20 members. On that first vote, many of those 19 voted for Andy Biggs, one of McCarthy's most vocal critics. On the second vote, those 19 members rallied behind another member, Jim Jordan, despite the fact that Jordan nominated McCarthy for that second speaker vote. While these defectors are getting a lot of the attention, a strong majority of the House Republican Conference is standing by McCarthy and saying they will stick with him for as long as it takes. Now, neither side is giving in here, which is why we saw vote after vote on the House floor today. And we should note, it does not seem like these 19 have an alternative to McCarthy. Jim Jordan was a name that was floated, but as we mentioned, he so far is standing behind McCarthy. Another possible alternative, Steve Scalise, nominated McCarthy for the third vote. It's very unclear at this point when and how either side will budge. Just before the vote today, McCarthy said he knew this was going to be a fight and he wasn't backing down.
And I will always fight to put the American people first, not a few individuals that want something for themselves. So we may have a battle on the floor, but the battle is for the conference and the country, and that's fine with me. Look, I have the record for the longest speech ever on the floor. I don't have a problem getting a record for the most votes for Speaker, too. Thank you.
And this is very significant for McCarthy because this is not his first speaker's bid. In 2015, he was assumed to take over that speaker's role when then Speaker John Boehner announced he was stepping down. McCarthy launched a bid in 2015, but ended up stepping out of that race when it became clear that he wasn't going to have the votes to get it. He stepped out of the race before taking it to the floor, and clearly this time he's taken the opposite approach here.
You know, and back in 2015, it's been really interesting to kind of see the differences and similarities between now and then in this race to become Speaker. Now, remember, McCarthy stepped out of that race in the 11th hour and 59th minute, if you will, in 2015. Much different tone here today in Washington. So it is really interesting to see what's been going on. So Maddie and I have spent several weeks looking at the history of McCarthy and how he has rose to power, how he's risen to this position right now. It's been very interesting. That is why we spent several weeks working on a documentary called The Path to Power, Kevin McCarthy's Path to Power, because it outlines and shows how Kevin McCarthy was able to get a start in Bakersfield, and now right behind us, he is here and could eventually become the leader of the House of Representatives. So we have a preview of what's coming up tonight on 17 News at 7 o'clock.
What comes from Bakersfield? Twangy music, smog, and Kevin McCarthy.
Whenever you hear people talking about the class clown, that's Kevin.
I talked with Assembly GOP leader Kevin McCarthy about that today.
Power, raising money, raising more money, more power. It was a relationship that Kevin figured out very early.
I have a long history in the Republican Party, a proud history within the Republican Party.
Kevin was the political person who was different than what the Valley had seen, what we had all seen.
I'm joined now by the new Congressman. Congratulations to you, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
It didn't take a great deal of time to realize that Kevin McCarthy stood out among his peers.
He was the deputy whip. He was the whip. He was the minority leader. He was the majority leader. He has literally covered all of the bases.
He has a fundraising network that rivals presidential candidates.
Hometowns, names of their family, wife, kids. He just established relationships as well as anyone I've ever seen.
He doesn't drink, but he's somebody that people want to have a beer with.
Boehner announced on Friday he is stepping down at the end of next month.
The man expected to take Boehner's place, Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy, stunning Washington, dropping out of the race.
McCarthy, to this day, I would say, still wonders whether he should have dropped out of that race.
I am officially running.
He understood the movement that Donald Trump was leading and how powerful that was.
McCarthy has been very loyal to Trump, and Trump has been loyal in return for now.
Protesters have now broken into the U.S. Capitol.
A lot of people credit McCarthy in some respects of kind of rescuing Trump's, not his career, but to give him some legitimacy after the Capitol was attacked.
Kevin McCarthy was privately plotting to get Trump to resign.
I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation we should resign.
Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has already announced his bid for Speaker.
It's deja vu all over again right now. Conservatives distrust him.
He's challenged, and now his test is ultimate.
McCarthy's been in Congress for more than a decade. This is kind of his last chapter.
We're going to see who the real Kevin McCarthy is.
And so, again, you can watch that tonight right here on TV 17 at 7 o'clock. We should note, we're calling it Mr. Speaker, Kevin McCarthy's path to power. We should know that, of course, he is not the Speaker of the House right now. They are still voting, and members of Congress say that that could take a very long time. However, he is still the front runner in this race.
Well, and on that point about what happened today, they have to keep voting until they get a Speaker. They can't do anything without a Speaker. They can't start any investigative or legislative work. They can't even swear in the new members without a Speaker. So that voting will pick back up tomorrow at noon.
And we should say, Jim and Tammy, we are several thousand miles away from Kern County. And the people here, though, in D.C., they don't need to turn to Netflix or any other streaming service to find a true drama. They've got what's happening behind us here in Washington, D.C. to keep them entertained, if you will, for what could be a very long time. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, I was glued to the television for a few hours myself today.
All right, Alex and Maddie, we know how hard you have worked on this documentary tonight. Really looking forward to watching that, sitting down at 7 o'clock tonight for the Kevin McCarthy's Path to Power, Mr. Speaker. Thanks a lot, you two. See you tomorrow.